Welcome to the Air Moon Eris channel. Tonight's pick a card reading, or today's pick a card reading, will just be what message does Spirit have for you, or what does Spirit want to tell you. And we have 4 piles for you to pick from. Pile 1 with the King of Swords and a piece of Fluorite. 5 of Pentacles with the Rose Quartz Pendulum. The Knight of Pentacles with the Orgone. And the 8 of Pentacles with the Spirit Quartz. So we are doing tonight's reading by candlelight. This is, I don't know why, it's just something I feel called to do. So for those of you that are used to looking at the cards, I have tried to light it to the best of my ability using the candles, but it might just be one that's a little bit, like it's just one that we sort of have to bear with, and then next time we should be back to normal, so we'll see how we go anyway. Now, to show you the crystals, sort of what we might do, we'll hold one of these up a little bit closer and see if we can shed light on it. So this is a fluorite, still quite hard to see even using the candlelight. It's not quite the same, is it? Anyway, okay. This is the rose quartz pendulum. This is the Orgone. It's really beautiful. It was actually given to me by my Reiki master teacher. There we go. And this is the Spirit Quartz. It's kind of, it is like a paler purple, but it is really pretty. It's definitely one that having lights turn on does it better justice. Anyway. Okay, so you can pause the video, close your eyes, take a couple breaths if that's, or whatever it is that you need to do to work out which pile you feel the most drawn to. Then you can use the timestamps in the description box to jump ahead, and we will see you there. Okay, welcome group 1 to tonight's reading, which is what Spirit wants to tell you. And I've just had a couple of cards jump out. So the first card that we have is the Strength card and the Emperor. So just a quick recap, this is if you chose the King of Swords and the Fluorite. Okay, let's see if we can get any more. If you missed it in the intro, we are doing tonight's reading by candlelight. It's just something, I guess that was like a requirement of tonight's reading for whatever reason, so. There we go. Hoping everybody's doing well, or as best as we can be. Okay, so we've also got the Queen of Pentacles and the Empress here as well. Straight away I'm being alerted to the fact that like there's something that these 4 have in common, and I can't actually tell what it is. I haven't spent a lot of time trying to work it out because it's only just happened. But so we have the Strength card. Strength card, let's see. It always makes me think of Leo with the Strength card. What else do we have? The Emperor. I think the Emperor is like Mars energy, and then Queen of Pentacles. It's just very strong Earth energy. It doesn't have to be like a particular sign, but it could be like Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn. I particularly feel more called to like Virgo or Taurus, maybe even Taurus for the Queen of Pentacles there. And the Empress is the embodiment of all 4 queens. So And then we have the King of Swords here. What is it that they all have in common? Like 3 out of 4 here sit on a throne, but there's something else. All right, well, we will park that for the moment. I don't know, there's just like a strength in all of them. That's the only thing that I can think of, is that there is like a strength in all of them. There's like a regality in all of them. There is a position, or there's like a power in the strength or something. Yeah. These people don't get to be who they are without showing up every day. I don't know, although I feel like the Empress will like show up whether she wants to or not, so maybe not. I don't know. I still feel like really drawn to like spend more time working out what it is, but we're just going to keep moving and just see if it comes up, because otherwise we will spend quite a bit of time there. But I do feel like it's necessary to do a quick like sage. Just help clear up anything that the Palo Santo didn't get. That's so good. There we go. Okay. There could be a sense of pride in all of these placements, all of these cards. I'm just going to take a moment to just see if I can get anything without using the cards. So that it's all like a position and display or show of like power or strength within, yeah, how they show up. Okay, so we're just acknowledging or recognizing that there's like definitely a strength here, regardless of what it looks like. And it's displayed in how these 4 cards show up. So I feel like you might actually be this King of Swords type over here. And the King of Swords is like really quite, it's like a contrasted or a stark contrast difference between the King of Swords and all of these energies. Just because it's a lot more, it's like mental or communicative energy. I guess you don't have to specifically resonate with being like more logical. You could be a person that just has like a lot of life experience, where maybe it's like that. I'm getting like the 9 lives thing, where like a cat will have 9 lives, where it's like you might be on like your 9th life or something like that. They're saying something about like the bats will come one by one and you don't have to feed them. So I'm wondering if there's some sort of like weird message in it, where it's kind of like every now and then you're having someone come in wanting something from you, and it's like seemingly just a part of like the ebb and flow of nature or the day-to-day or something like that. But it's actually that they've seen you, and I think they feel like you would probably be more helpful than other people, so that's why they're coming to you. So it's kind of that thing of you don't have to help them, and I feel like if you weren't helping them, they probably wouldn't come to you anyway. And I don't know how to better explain it. It's kind of like that, like, I don't know. I'm getting some sort of analogy that's like once come, twice serve, but I don't think that's how it's said. I'm not sure. It's basically that I feel like they're actually testing you more than anything. I don't feel like they're in need, but I feel like they're showing up like they're in need, but they're actually just testing you, trying to see what they can get so that they don't have to go and get it themselves or something like that. And I feel like you're actually pretty discerning by this stage of life. And I feel like you can see through things. Like there's, not only can you see through things, but you can tell. So maybe this is a warning that there are some coming in, or like that confirmation of maybe that you had some suspicions of like some people around you that were just trying to test you to see what they could kind of get out of you. It's like I sort of get that thing of, because you know how life can be hard, or you've had like really challenging experiences, that like you've kind of got a kindness to because of that compassion for that shared similar life experience. But people are playing on this and they shouldn't be. And I think you see them coming a mile away. And I feel like you're definitely wise. And I feel like you probably, if anything, rather than turn a blind eye on potentially helping a person that could really need it, you're like letting them get closer to be able to actually see if it is real or not, so that you know like the truth of the situation, and that way, at least if you do turn them away, you know that you really have like you've really seen that they were worth turning away, and if you did help them, you've really seen that they were worth helping. So I don't know if that's like a message to do that, or if that's like a current behavior, like a thing that you already do. I feel like you probably already do that. Now, I feel like spirit looks over you, or looks after you, or watches over you. So I don't know if there's like some sort of significant other that's passed over or something. Yeah, for a lot of you in this group, I feel like there's a past loved one. I'm getting like J names, and this will be different for everybody. I was getting like Jim, Jake, were the two main ones, but it's that's like it's for a specific couple of people. For some of you, I feel like your life experiences would have quite literally turned you grey. And I wish I knew what it was, and I can't remember, and I will at some stage learn what the practice is called, but I believe it's like a yogic thing where people grow out their hair. Maybe like certain types of people grow out their hair, and the idea behind it, it's not necessarily like, I'm not saying it originates as a yogic practice, but it's like, I think, a well-known yogic practice for certain people. Anyway, and this is something that I've been doing for a couple of years now, where it's, I guess when I started to become more energetically sensitive, I was like growing out my hair, and I don't cut it anymore. And there's something here where if you don't already have long hair, it would be really good for you to like continue to grow your hair. The whole reason why is because energetically it actually acts like an antenna. So it could help with your sensitivity, or it could just help with like the radius, not the radius, yeah, the radius. I don't know. It will help with like how far your energetic reach has. Yeah. Okay, so that's all we needed to mention there. The other thing is, I feel like for some of you, you need to be wearing some sort of like protective jewelry. In this picture, the man has it on his right hand, but I really feel like for most of you, it will be on your left hand, because we want to stop negative energies coming in. And I mean, if you're intuitive or have your own sense of like what arm you feel drawn to put it on, by all means follow that first. But if you're looking for guidance, I would say put it on your left wrist. Okay, what else do we have next? All right. Okay, so for some of you, for most of you, they like want you to do some sort of aura clearing exercise. And it's quite, whatever the visualization that comes through to you doesn't really matter. Basically, if you can get a little bit of quiet, uninterrupted time where you can like, you don't have to lay down, but sit down or lay down as long as you're comfortable and you're not being you know, yeah, interrupted by kids or other people or anything like that. And I don't know, like you can put like some sort of like healing hertz music on if you want. You don't have to do any of that, but take some quiet time to go within, close your eyes. I want you to picture what your aura would actually look like. Yeah, just picture what it would look like. Doesn't matter what it looks like or how it comes in or what the symbolic representation is, as long as you do the exercise. And when you do that, I basically want you to picture just taking anything out of it that shouldn't like be there. Anything that's not aura and it's not you, take it out. And so it could be anything. You could have like sticks in the aura, you could have knives, you could have like animals, I don't even know, you could have like weird patches of dark energy. You know, some people get tears in their auras, all sorts of things. And basically, so I want you to picture pulling out all the things. After you pull out all the things, I want you to picture patching up in whatever way any tears or holes that you might have in the aura body itself. And then I want you to picture almost like magically healing the aura itself afterwards. So we're like removing things, we're sort of repairing it, and then we're like healing it or strengthening it at the end there. And if you can do some deep breathing while you do this, that would be really helpful as well. And after you've like, you just basically keep going until you've got everything out, okay? And for like, it doesn't really matter, like everyone will have their own different version of what it looks like, but for those of you that might need the help or have the question pop up of like, where do you put the things that come out of the aura, just imagine like a white portal or a white door, if you will, and you just put all that stuff that you pull out of the aura in that white portal and just let it close up on its own afterwards, okay? Anyway, all right, so now that we've got that out of the way, so all these people, I still feel like you have this like regality, you probably still have like a level of pride, but maybe a bit more humility. You do have a position of power, whether you recognize it or not, but I feel like your power is more in that silver tongue nature. It's like you've got that lived in experience and you're pretty quick-witted, so you could probably, I don't know, I guess you could probably not only speak the truth, but you could probably shut people down quite quickly. And so there's something here where it's like, I don't know if that's what people see in you and it like puts them on the back foot or something like that, but it's kind of like, I feel like you would be the type of person to take the time to get to know people or their situation, like what we were saying before. You know that the bats are coming in, but you let them get close enough to work out whether they're like good or not, or whether you'll help them or turn them away. And I feel like these 4 cards here are actually representative, like maybe different people in your life in reference to the bats. So I think one of the other things that I can see in common is that sometimes these people might actually have, I guess, like a commonality to either dismiss, minimize, not have the lived experience, or be too busy in their own journey being weighed down by the battles that they're facing to necessarily have the bandwidth or be able to take the time to see where you're coming from or acknowledge like the path that you've walked or your life experience, something like that. There's almost like they have that lack of depth of insight and you seem to have it. And I think that might, like, I don't think they really understand when they're thinking of you or interacting with you. They're not like coming from a place of like seeing the whole picture, and that's what you need to know. And I do feel like you do see the whole picture, and then it's hard for you to like really show up for these people in ways that they probably expect you to, because it's not really reciprocated, and it's not really for like, I don't know, maybe like there's only really one that's really like dismissive or like quick to sort of, you know, move on to the next thing, or I don't know, whatever that dismissive sort of energy is, or like shoot from the hip. But I think the others would genuinely want to know, but they just don't have that like time, bandwidth, or lived experience to actually have that ability. Okay, so like, which is kind of tricky, because how do we make that work? So I'm just going to take a moment and see if I can pull through something here. I know there's definitely a message about having compassion and like relying on your intuition here, so there might be an actual message for some of you to go within, but I'm just gonna take a moment and see what we get. All that they're saying is there's like green for the heart chakra, so it is definitely about like having compassion for it's really hard, right? Like, because you've got to have that level of like humility where you've got to have compassion for the fact that they may be like, there's just the reasons why they're not showing up in the way that you have the ability to is because they don't have that ability. Yeah, like there's part of their picture hasn't happened yet they haven't got that lived experience to be able to, okay? Now we're going to take another card. And that doesn't mean, by saying that you have compassion for people, doesn't mean that you like let them walk all over you or anything. It just means like might help you understand. Okay, so the card that we got is Love on the Brain, dreaming, fantasizing, daydreaming, nostalgic. For some of you, there might be like a nostalgic property here. Maybe some of them have been previous romantic partners, but I actually feel like it's mostly a nostalgic thing. So for some of you, it definitely could actually be like family, like mother, father energies here, because the Emperor and the Empress are like the mother, father counterparts, right? The Emperor, I guess like the Empress is Venus or Venusian energy, and the Emperor is like Mars, but it's just the way that the Empress is like all four queens, and I guess the Emperor is meant to be all four kings. But I just, in this reading, for the energy I'm picking up on from the Emperor card, he's not actually all four kings. It's like, or maybe he is, or maybe he has been for a long time, where like maybe part of some of his like life experience has sort of, I don't know, escaped his memory or something. Maybe he's been caught up in other things, or he's forgotten or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, so this Love on the Brain card, it could speak of love, but I'm not, maybe it is like familial love, not necessarily just romantic love. Yeah. Okay. It's definitely like a mothering, nurturing energy here as well. So definitely could be like 3 out of these 4 cards are actually women. Okay. Now, what else are we going to take? One of these. Yeah, I think that might be like the main message here, is though, because like the King of Swords can sometimes come off like cold and detached and stuff, or like just being quite sharp or blunt depending on how things happen, just like quite cutthroat energy. Yeah, Pluto, so really cold and detached. So you probably could come off like that sometimes, and it's like that thing, it's like the thing that you don't want to do is like give people time that they won't give you, but you've got to understand that theirs comes from inexperience. They actually don't know better, you do. There's like a level of transformation that you've undergone that people who haven't been through the same thing don't see. Like, it's not visible on the outside. It's not an external transformation that's happened. It's an internal transformation. And then we've got Aries. Okay, so I don't know if the Emperor would be like Aries or Mars. Sort of making me think Aries. I wonder, I'm not really sure with the Aries card if some of you have like strong Aries placements, or if some of you actually have, maybe one of the people that you're dealing with have like a strong Aries placement or something like that. Maybe they have like a stellium in their chart, or they're just embodying that energy at the moment. But they could just be people that actually are quite like headstrong, or I don't know, maybe, I'm not really sure. I'm just trying to think what. I always think of like Aries as quite stoic, but it's not the energy that I'm getting come through. So they could just be hot-headed and hard-headed in the way that you're on the receiving end of their energy. But knowing that they're like wielding great, they might even just be in more of like a doing action, like a action orientated state. So maybe that's why sometimes they're not taking in so much, because they're actually focusing on the external world and just doing and taking action, rather than like, you know, getting to know or seeing a depth in a person. They're like out in the world doing things, something like that. It's almost like an incompatibility thing and a lack of experience, even though the people might show up in positions where you would think that there would be experience. I don't think all of them are inexperienced. I feel like the Queen of Pentacles in this situation, if that sort of energy or nature, she seems a bit more mature, a little bit more steady, a little bit more, I don't know, like stable, nurturing, almost get like a motherly, like nurturing energy from her in this reading. She seems like she has a little bit more wisdom to offer here, but she also might be too busy looking back on her own past in some ways as well. So sometimes that can be that like lack of emotional availability, or we turn to distraction or something like that. So, you know, for maybe the person in the situation that does have good insight, they're not always available to us when we need them. And then, yeah, other people are fighting their own battles. Some are maybe, I don't know, it's hard to say, because I feel like some are just like, I don't know, I feel like the Emperor and the Aries energy here is like the same. But I feel like this person's just like really quick, isn't taking in much. They're too busy doing. It's like, save it for me later, or like put it in less words, or like, you know, do something about it. And it's like kind of the wrong like energy, like, no, I don't know, wrong, like it's just not like the best approach and like the best way to handle that situation, because it's just like, no wonder why you would butt heads, because it's like a total miscommunication. So it's like, maybe you're quite a good communicator and this person's maybe not the best communicator, I'm not sure. Anyway, and I don't know, the other side of it is too, is that I also get this general energy of like, some people do understand, and they're actually really quite like protective of their own energy and space, and they just don't want to entertain anything that is going to, I don't know, like, what's the word? Like, I'm looking for a better way of saying like bring them down. So I don't know if it's because they don't have capacity, or if it's a case of they're just very protective of, you know, making sure everything is like peaceful and calm and enjoyable for themselves, or something like that. So it's kind of, I almost get it in a sense of like, it probably comes off quite selfish, but I don't know, maybe it is. I don't know if you've helped this person in the past. I don't feel like they are a person that feels like they probably need like much from you or something. So it's kind of like, I don't even think it's that. I think this person actually just doesn't, it's almost like they don't want to pollute their energy. They don't want to, it's almost like this person wants to keep their energy elevated, and they're not going to let anything else come in, which is unfortunate, because it's like part of being human. But then, I don't know, it's weird. It's like, you know, if that's a person's boundary, that's a person's boundary, so we obviously respect that, and that's good. And people don't have to do that. They don't have to show up for us if they don't want to. That's fine. I guess it's just that choice of like who you invest your time in and whatnot going forward. And Maybe they're a person that you saw a great deal of value in. Like maybe there was like a lot of things that really brought you to them. Maybe the person that you're thinking of, for those of you that it is in regards to like a romantic love relationship, or a person that you had that interest in, maybe it was like that there was like a lot of potential there. They did seem like they really had it all together. They could do all the things. Like they were, you know, I don't know how to explain it. Like they were really attractive and they were really supportive, and they showed up in the world in good ways, and they were working on things, and they had really good skill set, and you know, they were like really good socially, and I know, just like all the things. It was like they seemed like the total package. But it's kind of, I get, it's kind of, maybe this is more what it is. It's like that's how they maintain being the total package, is because they actually are so cautious with giving out their energy. They're actually keeping it for themselves. And that's actually what works for that person. So it might not work the same for everybody else, and everyone has different life paths. Yeah. I don't know if that's even helpful or not for you to understand that, but that was like one of the things that they wanted to tell you. So, okay, one more card. Let's go. Okay, and the last card that we got is the Womb. I'm actually going to read from the book on this one, but I guess before I get started, it does bring me back to that like female, maternal, nurturing, fertile, if I haven't already said that, energies. So something, I actually wonder if there's like a fieriness in like a female here. It doesn't have to be female, it could just be like a feminine energy, but I think for a lot of you may have just, regardless of all that stuff, you may have just seen like a strong potential for this person to be a creator of some kind, okay? So for some of you, these 4 cards will be different traits of like the same person, and for others of you, these 4 will be individual people in your life that are somehow like affecting you, I guess, or taking up time and attention, or there's like something that spirit wants to tell you that may help you understand the situation, something like that, okay? All right, so we'll read from the book anyway. I'm not sure why, but this triangle actually feels really significant. And it is red, so it could just kind of be like that root chakra. Like the red does really seem to want to stand out to me in this reading, because there's quite a few of the cards have the red. It's like, yeah, okay, anyway. I wonder if that's why these people are the way that they are, because security means a big deal to them, or that like needing to belong, or it's like fighting things with fire, because it's like there maybe some of them are stuck in fight or flight, but instead of flight they actually fight, something like that. Okay, so the Womb. Let's see. The Mother, Father. I don't know, for some of, I haven't even found the page yet, but I actually wonder for some of these people if they're just like old habits that make them feel safe and comfortable, and they sort of feel warm in these like old patterns of behavior or something like that, and like you've been a person that's undergone like a lot of transformative experiences and energy and everything, and it's like you really see things and call things for what they are. And these people are still fixed in some sort of old belief, even if they hold great positions, or are doing well. I'm not really sure how to better say it. Okay, let's just go. What is it? XLV. It's going to take me a moment. Okay, cool. So it's sort of like the downside of doing things in the dark, right? Kind of hard to see. But I have to say the energy is like a lot nicer, so there's always that. Okay. So everything has an origin story. The womb archetype asks us to contemplate the beginning beyond the beginning, the mother beyond the mother, in a world that often negates the power and necessity of feminine principles. This card returns us to the warmth, tenderness, and sacred intelligence from which we came. It is a card of receiving, not achieving, or of accepting love from the mother of all of us, of us all. She is the life-giving force that forgives and cherishes even the most wounded and disparate soul. No matter how lost you are, the womb awaits your return to help you heal and grow. This card is a call to keep things simple, to return to the reborn in the name of love. The womb is everywhere. It is beyond gender, beyond time. We are within it as it is within us. Yeah, okay. So for some of you, this very much could be talking about mother-father situations, but okay. All right, group one, I hope that this was helpful to you or insightful in some way, even if it was like confirmation or gave you a little bit better understanding on some of the things that have been happening in different dynamics or around you. But anyway, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you all in another video. Okay, welcome group 2. If you chose the 5 of Pentacles and the Rose Quartz Pendulum, then this is your reading, or this is your, yeah, I guess what Spirit wants to tell you reading. So Pentacles is really earthy energy, but I feel like it's actually things that are happening in the real world. So whether that's like health or being between homes or separation or some sort of feeling of being out in the cold generally. Maybe you're feeling very lonely or on your own. Maybe you're not feeling... Maybe you don't have support during this time. For some of you, maybe experiencing some sort of like blockages in trying to access help in navigating different systems. That in itself would be why the rose quartz would be really good, because in a time that's really hard when you're not receiving a lot of like real world support, rose quartz is actually a really lovely supportive stone in itself. So that being the case, I feel like you guys just props can't get enough. We'll add a little bit extra. All right, we are going to quickly sage anything, because I feel like some of you have probably been dealing with some heavy things, and hopefully this will just help the energy before we get into it, so that anything we bring through will be like the most helpful it really can be. Okay, cool, that's good. Although we don't want ash all over. Okay, so tonight we are doing the reading by candlelight. If you missed the intro, okay. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the Five of Pentacles, this is a time like no other to make sure that you're doing what you can to, I guess, it could be like securing a home, but it could just be like looking after your health and well-being. There's maybe, yeah, I don't, it's like health or a place to live is what I'm feeling. Oh, that was upside down. Okay, that's staying like that. For some of you, I feel like you had like what you thought was everything you wanted in life maybe ripped out from underneath you and left you in a place of feeling like maybe you felt like you became the beggar, whereas before you were a person that had more than enough to give to share with others. I guess you were in a fortunate enough position or something like that. All right, so I'm going to take another card. They want you to know that whatever has happened here is like a deeply transformative experience, even if it's not exactly, even if it has been painful. Wouldn't surprise me with the Tower card there if it has been painful. For some of you, I do feel like for most of you this Tower moment has already happened. For some of you it could be like realizing that these hopes and dreams are already happening has maybe left you feeling kind of out in the cold or excluded in some way or something like that, and then there's maybe going to be some sort of like Tower moment that follows this like realization or whatever this energy is. I feel like most of you probably have already lived this Tower moment, or you were like right in the middle of it, you like right in the crux. Okay, so the other card that we pulled, we got the Aphrodite card here. And Aphrodite is like, it's beauty. She's, I'm going to read from the book on this one because well, look, the card actually, do you know, it went, let's not worry about it. Because it actually says self-love. And that's exactly what we're talking about. So for the people in this group, there's no time like the present to up the ante on your self-care, and I understand most of you are probably not in positions to really give yourself a lot of self-care either. I guess you need to be providing yourself whatever self-care you possibly can, and like just anything you can do for yourself in any given moment that's going to be helpful to your well-being. That could be like showering, eating healthier food if you can, it's going to be great. Exercise, meditation, I don't know if it means like making sure bills are paid, or like, you know, those certain little jobs are done, or like responsibilities are done to sort of like keep the train running so it doesn't like fall off the tracks or something like that. Doing things that are supportive to yourself. So if it means like seeing a counselor or a psychologist, or I don't know, some sort of therapy or something, like some of you it might be like energy healing, like Reiki or kinesiology or something. It's I feel like that's going to be very different for everybody as to what your self-care looks like, but most people I know need to drink enough water, get a good night's sleep, eat good food, exercise when they can, and have a good friend or three to talk to. So and do what you can to help yourself. So yeah. Alright, so I feel like Spirit doesn't really want me to talk too much on maybe what the Tower moment itself has actually been. At this point, there could have been multiple, or this could be the first of multiple. Or it could just be like one really heavy Tower moment where it's like sort of all the ducks that you thought you had in a row all come falling down at the same time. So we actually have the Saturn card here. Saturn is usually, I think it can be like a barren place to be until it ages, and then it can actually like bring really exponential growth. It's kind of like it's an, I don't know how to explain it. I might read, yeah, this one we will read from the book on. Okay, let's do that. Saturn, okay. Saturn is associated with the Roman god Saturn and sometimes with Father Time. Saturn is often called the hard taskmaster, probably because Saturn pushes us to feel ambition, set and achieve goals, and create secure lives. When we undertake these tasks, we usually learn important lessons through facing challenges. Yeah, that's what we've got. Okay, cool. So I feel like you're definitely at a stage where you're learning these important lessons. For some of you, you're actually developing really crucial life skills here in whatever the situation is, because that, like, of what's come of it. And there's probably, like, not probably, there is no other way for your life path how you would have actually learned it. So that's why it's happened the way it has. And these life skills are actually going to change the trajectory of your life, where it'll actually help you a lot later on. So right now, taking care of yourself so that things can get better in the long run is going to be what you do. I really feel the need to mention to some of you that, like, when I say responsibilities, we just, when we're in these states of self-care, we don't want to be like, I don't know, like, just don't be too hard on yourself, but there are certain baseline responsibilities we need to do to ensure that we are taken care of. So paying rent's a really good one, right? Because we need a place to live. Okay. What else do we have? Okay. Just gonna take another card. We got two coming out. For some of you, going to the beach would actually be really helpful, but I mean, I'm always telling people to go to the beach, and I understand not everybody has the beach around them either, or whatnot. For those of you that don't have the beach around you, if you can, if you have a shell, even if you can just like think of a shell in your mind, like the picture of a shell, hold it up so you can see it. Yeah, that's probably the best lighting that we'll get with the candlelight. And just think of what the shell feels like and what the beach feels like, and see if it brings over some sort of calm, grounding sense or something like that. Might be really helpful for you. Okay, might be like an anchoring tool that you could use. So for some of you, if like anyone suffers with like dissociation or panic attacks, something like that might be really good, even if it's not the shell itself. If you have something else that does the similar thing, might actually be like a really excellent tool for you to keep on you, so that in those moments where things are hectic and falling down around us, you know, in that moment we can pull out that tool and fidget with it, or hold it, or take a breath and just sit with it for a minute, and that will help. All right, so we did have a couple of other cards come out. We had bad karma and fishing for comments, and the feeling that I get here is that somebody's going to try to bait you into like making a comment that's they're going to use to try to like take you down a peg with, or, you know, like turn the situation around on you or something like that. So that won't be for everyone. This bad karma card, I feel like that's what this Tower moment is. It's like karma. This karma might not be from this lifetime. It could be from a number, like, that unless you were actually told what it was for, or given like that intuitive message, then there's probably no real way to narrow in on it. Keep in mind that these pick a card readings on YouTube are just general readings. There's a lot of people in these groups. It's not the same as getting a personal reading. So for some of you, that may be something that you want to do, is actually get a personal reading and see if that's something that does come up or not. And look, there's not necessarily any guarantee that it will. I guess it depends what is most important for you at the time. Yeah. I also feel called to explain that when things like this happen, whatever it was or whatever your ongoing situation is, it's generally because I feel like everyone in this situation is affected. It's not just you. Although you might not be on good terms with the other people in it. I feel like it's actually bad karma for everybody involved. It's not just you, and it's not just one person, and it's not just them. It's like everyone involved. It was kind of like the universe's way of like having the minimal worst thing that could happen to have the right karma effects. I feel like I'm butchering this. I'm not really doing it justice, but at least if it makes sense, then that's all. That's, I guess, the main thing that we really want there. Okay, so karma. It doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad person at one stage. I think there's lots of different ways we can accumulate karma that our human minds can't comprehend. So I wouldn't get too caught up on that if that's something that you're worried about. Just understand that you're balancing the scales here, and that this was an inevitable part of your growth that needed to happen. That will actually be, I don't know, like, I know it says bad karma. Maybe this was like a terrible experience for you, but I feel like the growth and where this will land you in the future is just like it's incredible. Like, it's what it will do for your life will just absolutely turn things upside down. So this 10 of Cups here, it's like what you thought you were missing out on or losing, it'll give you the real deal when you actually get through all of this. Okay, so hopefully you can see that there. It's one very happy man with every cup of fulfillment that he needs or would like. This, yeah. Okay, so that's everything that I actually have for you tonight, Group 2. I hope that this was insightful in some way, and if not, maybe confirmation of a situation that you do find yourself in, or a little bit of, I guess that's the message that Spirit has for you. That's what Spirit wants to tell you. So I'll see you all in another video. Hey, welcome Group 3 to tonight's reading, or today's reading. If you chose the Knight of Pentacles and the Orgone, then this is your reading, or this is what Spirit wants to tell you. I just want to take a second to show you the Orgone because it's so beautiful. It's probably the only thing that's actually sort of almost prettier in the candlelight. Okay. All right, so there's a couple of weird things that I already sort of had coming through. The first thing was for those of you that actually are Australian or have heard of Play School, I was getting that song of, basically the words are, there's a bear in there. Oh no, my brain's lost it now. There's people with games and stories to tell. Open wide, come inside. It's Play School. Yeah, I'm think it's along those lines, or that's the important part of it anyway. Okay. So there was that, and there was also maybe mention of being burnt. Now, I actually feel called to talk to you about the Orgone. So the Orgone's supposed to collect or bring in concentrate like positive life force energy. So what they do is they actually use crystals, a metal, and an organic matter. So there is crystals in here. It's a bit hard to see. I think that ball is a crystal, and there's a layer of crystals here. These shavings down the bottom, they might not be metal, I'm not sure, but that gold spiral or coil in the middle is a metal. And then the organic matter is actually the resin that forms or holds it all together. And so those three are supposed to bring in this concentrated life force energy, and it's meant to be great for a number of things. Anyone that is familiar with like energy healing, Orgone is supposed to like bring in that good energy. Okay, so the other side of it is that it could be talking about bringing in good energy so that you have, you know, a lot of, I feel like you might have like a lot of life force to share around or something like that. Or a lot to share with other people, I'm not really sure. Okay, so we're just going to start taking cards. We are doing tonight's reading by candlelight. Okay, so we have the Page of Swords. Maybe some of you have been angry lately, I'm not sure. I'm hearing for those of you that have been, it's understandable why. Maybe not everyone has been angry. Maybe some of you have been upset. I guess we all experience, you know, different emotions for different situations. So, I mean, everyone emotes differently, right? There's no one correct way to emote as a human. Some sort of like truth prevailing here in this situation. I feel like somebody's decided that they've had enough of something. They're coming out with the truth, and I don't know if they're necessarily going after another person, but I feel like when they actually do come out with the truth, you know, it's calling attention from another person who's sort of coming in after them or trying to set them straight. So this energy could be flipped. Just apply it as, I guess we're not trying to make something fit that isn't actually your situation. We're just keeping in mind the fact that you could be either of these people. So we have the Page of Swords here. It's like something has frustrated you or angered you. Something's happened. I don't know if someone's actually done something to you anyway, but it's like you've decided, no, I've had enough of this. I'm going to lay down the law or the boundary or tell the truth here, or like set things straight or something like that. You come out with the truth, even if it's confronting and other people don't like it, and this other person actually doesn't like it, and they turn around to kind of try to set you straight or put you back in your place or something like that. So I feel like most of you will be the Page of Swords, but some of you could be the Knight of Swords. So maybe someone said something to you and you were like, nah, and yeah, anyway. Whatever happens here in this situation, I feel like it actually leaves you feeling, I guess, experiencing a sense of loss. So I feel like if this was a friendship, whoever these two people were, it's like that relationship is no longer, or maybe, I'm not sure if you have a break or if you like the friendship ends forever. All I know is that there's a period of separation here, okay? And I feel like it would leave you, it leaves you in your feelings about what has happened. like this whole situation, not only like grieving it, but it almost can consume you, where it's like that's most of what you're experiencing in life is just your feelings now, because it's like your emotions have taken over from what has happened. And it's something that you do need to walk away from. Like you do at some stage need to be able to let go of these feelings so that you can move on. So I wonder if you guys actually were like close friends or romantic partners or family, whatever it is. It could have even been work as well, but I don't really get the sense of it being work. But you know, this is the Knight of Pentacles, so this is like a person. I was getting something about it being like a man on a mission, sort of out there trying to make his mark on the world or something like that. See. So anything, doing this stuff by candlelight, it's always fun trying to get the picture. So, okay, what else do we have? Okay. So group 3, what does Spirit want to tell you? We have shine your light irritates their demons. For some of you, it's just like how you show up in the world annoys other people, because it shines light on the things that they refuse to, I guess, acknowledge within themselves or work on within themselves, and some, you know, different things like that. And I'm also getting, we have the groupie card here. I wonder, what is this? For some of you, I think this person might be like jealous of you. For some of you, you've like started just being your authentic self and you're just like, no, not putting up with that anymore. And this person's like, what do you mean you're not putting up with that anymore? Like, I don't know, it's weird because they have this energy of like, not really, I don't know, it's like a jealousy. Yeah, like a fanaticism, a jealousy, an envy or something like that. And if it's not, they're just gonna go find like the next person that is like a yes man. So they don't really care who it is that they have in their corner, as long as the person in their corner is in their corner, if that makes sense. So I wouldn't stress about that for whatever reason. That was what they wanted to come through with. Okay, let's see what else we get here. No, it's too many. We're not going to take them all. We'll try... Oh, here we go. This is what we want. Yeah, we've got a card here for new beginnings, which is exactly what they were wanting, was for you to like let go of these emotions. And so it's sort of one of those things that you do have to let it like consume you. You don't have to let it consume you. You do have to sit with it. You have to be present with it and process it. And then after you process it, you're basically free to move on from it. So if you can find a way to just be accepting of your situation, even if it, look, it doesn't, I feel like the way I'm saying this seems like really easy or really clear. But I feel like what happened was probably really heated, and maybe people were like really hurt in this situation. So I don't want to minimize that for anybody here. But where they don't really want to go into what specifically did happen, but rather acknowledge that maybe this person wasn't like a great loss to you anyway, especially if all they wanted was a person in their corner who was just going to be in their corner and not necessarily act with integrity anyway. And I don't know, like they don't want you to outshine them. They just want a groupie, if that makes sense. And so it's best for you at this point to just move on, make your new beginnings. And I definitely get a sense here of like the grass is actually greener on the other side at this point in time. Okay, group 3, that was a really quick one here that I had for you. I do, before we wrap this up, because I've got nothing else in the cards, I did just actually get the thought too that like the Orgone, not only is it meant to be bringing in concentrated good life force, like positive life force energy, but it can also help transmute energy. So maybe that's something that this group would want to do, is find a way to actually transmute their energy in order to help them process to like come out of this emotion, because it does seem like it is a lot, like the way that it's affected you. And even though I'm not getting the whole story here of what happened, I can just tell that it was like intense and very painful. Okay, so like I'm seeing like 9 or 10 of swords, I can't tell. I think it might have been 9 of swords, but either way, they're both pretty like devastating energies. Okay, so for some of you, you may actually want to do some type of energy work. You can do breath work, meditation, energy healing like Reiki or kinesiology, or I know there's a bunch of different modalities out there these days. Or you can go buy yourself an Orgone. I think they're pretty reasonably priced. I know what else you can do to do transmuting energy. You could just ask your guides to help you transmute energy and see if anything happens. That's always like a cool experiment to do. So this one last look at it, just making sure when you're buying one of these that they have crystals, metal, and the organic matter. But yeah, okay, anyway, group 3, that's everything that I have for you. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you all in another video. Okay, welcome group 4 to today's reading. If you chose the 8 of Pentacles and the Spirit Quartz, then this is what Spirit wants to tell you in your pick a card reading. So straight away, not that the 8 of Pentacles card is necessarily associated with Capricorn energy, but for some of you, I am feeling like a Capricorn energy come through. So whether that's just an energy that you currently embody, or it could be you know, a strong placement within your natal chart, or maybe you have multiple Capricorn placements or something like that. It's essentially like, you know, there's almost like, I'm getting in mixtures of energy here. There's like the Capricorn side of it where you're like showing up every day, putting in the effort and the hard work and the dedication and commitment, and you're just doing like all the little things, and like you're doing things by the book the way that they should be. So you've got that really strong, solid foundation, and it's like no one would have the ability to pull the rug out from underneath you because you've built such a solid foundation. It wouldn't happen. It wouldn't be possible, okay? The other side of what I'm getting is that there's like almost a creative finesse element of like artwork here. So I do get a sense that this is like a person that is like mastering whatever they're doing, or there's a passion or an element of like maybe some sort of hobby or something like that. There's like, for some of you, this may be like a passion or a hobby that's really therapeutic for you that you've managed to be able to like blend with work or make money from, and that would be like the dream, okay? So I don't know if you necessarily resonate with that, but there may be something in this that will build upon. Yeah, okay. The next part is the Spirit Quartz. So it's like quite a faint purple. We'll just see if we can shed a bit of light on it in a way. It's probably the best that we'll get with this lighting. So we're actually doing tonight's reading by candlelight. If that was something that you missed in the intro. Okay, the next thing is that we have the 3 of Cups here. So I feel like this is actually in order for celebration, because you've actually achieved something that is worthwhile celebrating. And when I say that, like, even if you're kind of hard on yourself, I feel like you would deem this worthwhile a celebration, okay? Maybe it's just worthwhile celebrating the hard work that you've put in, or showing up every day, or like seeing something through to actually start seeing results. Okay, so for others, so I don't know if this is for others of you, or if this is like a bit of a backstory or something that's like kind of separate. So maybe for some of you, you're like focusing on your work, or funneling some of this energy into your work, or getting those like you know, making the most out of those therapeutic benefits out of your work itself. But it's kind of that escaping to or distracting yourself from a fallout with some friends, where it was like there may have been 3 friends, or there may have been like, you know, you and 2 other friends, or a small close-knit group of friends, or just really supportive friends, something like that. You came together regularly, you were supportive to each other, maybe had fun together and were nurturing in some way, had good relationships. Oh my god, look what's on the bottom of the deck, the Death card. Yeah, so maybe some sort of friendship here has ended, and I feel like you're still currently, like, this 8 of Swords energy is like where you're at, where you're really feeling stuck about the whole situation. You probably just don't know how to be with having a friendship and or some sort of relationship or connection being, yeah, ending, dying there. Okay, so the only thing that I feel like what Spirit wants to tell you is to surrender all the thoughts and feelings and the things that you could have, should have, would have done, and acknowledge that it takes more than one to tango. And it's not even like a move on energy, it's just like go out and keep living life and take the next step to be able to do that, whatever that looks like for you. It's kind of like accepting where you're at, but kind of, I don't know what it is, you know, like this, it's like such an adventurous energy, and I know that right now it doesn't feel like that's what you want to do, but it would kind of be the antidote to the situation that you're in, and you might actually find like a really good, I'm getting like quite literally like a best friend, a super loyal person who'll probably bring you so much more joy than any other person ever has, and you won't find them until you actually go out into the world and, you know, get back on your path, or do whatever you're doing, or just get out and adventure again. Okay, like it's sort of like you don't have to pretend that whatever's happened hasn't happened. It's just that this feeling stuck, it's like, I don't know what it is. I feel like some of you may be beating yourself up about this, whether it was like your fault or not, and some of you it may have just like meant so much to you that it was like really painful or something like that. Okay, so it's kind of like an element of like you're still really in that pain, and when you are able to pass through that pain and you do step out, I feel like that's when you'll actually have this new person come in that's going to be really good for you and really helpful. Really loyal, really fun, really like, I feel like they're just going to love you heaps. Probably like the best friend that you've had in a long time. Yeah. Look, I know, you know, I feel called in readings like this to acknowledge that some people have, you know, man's best friends at home, like dog, like some sort of animal or pet that they love sincerely, and they're always going to be by your side. They're always going to love you, and maybe a little bit of that like loving energy will help as well. But I still feel, even if you're the person that really resonates with having a pet that will always love you, I still feel like there's a person coming in here that you'll end up being good friends with somehow, or have like a long-lasting connection or something. Anyway, and it's kind of, when that happens is when you'll get this like illumination to whatever it was that happened back in this 3 of Cups moment that fell apart. So it was like everything was really good all 1 minute, and then all of a sudden there was like that fallout, that yeah, okay. Yes, so that's everything that we have for that group of cards. So maybe for some of you, like the way through that pain is actually focusing on your work, and focusing on your hobbies and the things you love, and art and creation, and I don't know, anything that you find therapy in like a physical act. Like maybe you need to use your hands, like to, it's like that thing of like getting into your hands or into your body and out of your mind through using your hands. And I don't know, like gardening or creating or arts and crafts, or I don't know. I guess only you guys will know, or maybe this will be like a really good time for you to like give some new things a go. Definitely get like an arts craft sort of vibe, or creation, definitely. Yeah, there we go. God, I wonder if this person was necessarily talking shit, but maybe it's something that you feared they were talking shit. That's I don't really want to delve too much into that, because then we're like feeding back into that thinking of them. But then this could also be that whole, you know, this is what spirit wants to tell you, right? So I don't know if they're making you aware of people doing that, or I don't know, maybe. Anyway, we'll see what the other cards say. So we've got into you. It's good chemistry, great vibes, positive. And then bad habits, drugs, addictions, toxicity. So I think for some of you guys, it's like this person couldn't help themselves talk about you because they actually, like, you know, that's, and I don't know if they felt obsessed with you, or they just like loved you, or they just like, they gravitated towards you so much, or wanted your attention or something like that. But like the reality of the situation is that they maybe had like toxic habits from previous relationships or something like that. But and it's not necessarily like that for everyone though, because I don't feel like for everyone it's like anybody's necessarily been like a real bad person or anything. Maybe for some of them, like they were told that you were talking shit or something, like, I don't know. Like maybe there's been some sort of divisive energy there. I have no idea. But this person did love you, and they did get really hurt when they were, you know, feeding into that. And for other people, it's like they're kind of tainted from having previous toxic relationships where maybe they're not really like a toxic person, because I feel like you guys were like really close, or you meant a lot to each other or something like that. So I don't think they were necessarily like a bad person, but you may have seen maybe the way that this situation was handled wasn't great. For some of you, it may have been falling back into old habits as well, so it's hard to say. All we know is that we're going to take another card and move on from that, because it's, I don't know, maybe that's confirmation for some of you. I still don't want to entertain it too much though. We just want to acknowledge it and kind of move on to the next bit. For some of you, that's just how the other person might feel, but I feel like that's something that you would know, or this would be confirmation on an already sneaking suspicion. Okay, so we have two cards. So we have hope and inspiration. So I feel like this is just like hope for the new future. A lot more artistic, creative type stuff here as well. So finding your inspiration in the hope. So it's like the thing that gives you hope gives you inspiration, or it's like, yeah, they go hand in hand. Okay, so we also have the Aquarius card and the Sagittarius card here. So for some of you, this could be like something here about learning or about knowledge. Or leading your own path. Yeah, I think that's what it is, standing out from the crowd. Or you don't have to stand out from the crowd, but standing apart from the crowd, doing your own thing, not being worried about what other people think, and taking charge and going after what you want. Yeah, okay, so group 4, that's actually everything that I have for you for tonight's what spirit wants to tell you reading. Hopefully this was helpful or insightful in some way, even if it was just confirmation, and I'll see you all in another read.